Hey, yeah, it's me again. I wasn't expecting to come back on, but I came across some really interesting info this evening after writing for a while that I wanted to share that I hope you'll also find interesting. Um, Pardon my blanketed nature. I'm definitely relaxed on the couch at this point. I've been writing for many hours now, working on the next book. So you may recall a few weeks ago, I posted a video about a dream I had about Quetzalcoatl, who is a Mexican, like an Aztec deity, is a serpent, and Quetzalcoatl is tied to prophesized cycles of change on Earth. And I was trying to figure out why this was in my dream, why Quetzalcoatl was was spinning at the top of the room I was in this dream, like a serpent chasing its tail. And I'm connecting a few different pieces here, so I hope you can follow. There is a psychic named Jean Mayall. Jean, Jeanne, Mayall, Mayell. And she has a website, I think it's just jeanmayall.com. And she has super interesting predictions based on visions that she's been having for about 35 years. And they go back to 1985, where she had visions of a lot of the things that are happening on Earth now, and she predicted that there were going to be these major changes in the late 2010s, like 2016, 17, 18, 19, complete kind of chaotic times for the planet, both environmentally and politically and socially. And of course, all of that has come to pass. And she also had visions that this sort of disruptive period would begin to improve in 2020, and then sort of a reinvigoration of the United States was going to take place and culminate around 2028, where we would have torn down a lot of the rot in our country and replaced it with something that is even better. So I'm really hoping that that is true. But among the other things that Jean Mail points out on her website is that there's a lot of tie-ins with possibly star seeds, meaning people who believe they've come to Earth from other galaxies. And I know that some people who watch my videos have either believe that they are star seeds, or have been told they're star seeds by psychics. And it's a concept that I'm only just getting my head around. I guess I don't love the term star seeds because it sounds kind of, like psychic juju, voodoo, those goofy psychic names that we come up with that are not my favorite because they may put off the layperson, but I'll use the word that they use. And a star seed is meant to be a being, a soul, basically born in another galaxy or far from here, or possibly even in another dimension, and from a more evolved culture. And since the souls of these beings are immortal, just the same as human souls are immortal, according to Jean Mayall, there was a sort of organized effort beginning maybe 60, 70 years ago for people from this distant galaxy, this distant realm, to begin incarnating on Earth in order to help Earth get through the coming prophesized catastrophe that we are basically living through right now. And these people constitute the light workers of the world, meaning sort of the whole psychic community that has really sprung up, and that includes all the wonderful readers and all the people who follow them. And Jean Mayall also said in a video that I watched just now on YouTube, some very interesting things. And she doesn't do many videos. This video is actually from 3 years ago and is one of the only YouTube videos of her I could find. I'm going to post it in the description below because she explains her 35-year prophecy that she saw in 1985. But she explains that instead of a single Messiah who comes to Earth in this time of distress to save the planet, it is the star seeds and the light who are light workers. So it's not one person, but it's thousands of people, and they come to Earth now to save the planet, literally with love. It's not a war that can be won with knives and swords and guns and weapons. It's a rejuvenation of the human spirit. It's getting the human race, which apparently is behind other species in the universe in terms of its emotional, intellectual, psychological evolution, since it's only a 200,000-year-old species. These star seeds were meant to come to Earth to help Earth see how it could be, how things could be better, how we could be more plugged into nature to take care of the world that we live in, how we can live more in peace and instead of in constant conflict. And everything she was saying was really speaking to me. And it's very strange for me to say that because I have resisted the thought for a long time that, because again, I think it can be off-putting to some people. I've resisted the thought that I might be from somewhere else, that I might not be, originally from Earth. Now, of course, I'm incarnated as a human being, as are you, so we are human. But given how big the galaxy is, the universe is, and given that I do believe that there are other life forms, other species throughout the universe, and given that I also believe that all intelligent life has a soul, an immortal soul, I don't have any problem with believing that beings from other more evolved cultures could choose to come to Earth en masse and incarnate for the purposes of helping mankind, and that it's a volunteer assignment, and that it began, as Marianne at Revealing Light Tarot has explained, it began in the 60s with, the hippies. They were the original idealists, and the baby boomers. Many of the people in that generation were the first wave of light workers, and then they birthed Generation X, of which I'm a member, and we're like the second wave, and then the third wave is the millennials, and then there's supposed to be, I don't know if it's Gen Z or the, what do they call them, the Indigos. I'm not sure what the other new generations are called, but it's a multi-generational plan, and it consists of evolved, essentially alien beings from other galaxies that come to try to help Earth in this time of crisis. And she specifically says in the video that I'm going to include with this one, that I'm going to link below this video, Jean Mayall says, she makes specific reference to Kali Yuga, which is, I'm trying to keep this straight because this is not my forte. Kali Yuga is I want to say Hindu, is part of Hinduism, but it's another prophesized era on Earth. So like all the religions and all the different sort of spiritual sets of spiritual beliefs, they all cross over. They're all referring to the same thing. So like in Kali Yuga, like there is a period of high disruption and the breaking down of old systems that has to tie us in with Kali Yuga and Quetzalcoatl, which is the Mayan version of the same thing. And some of these prophecies go back thousands of years, and were in human cultures of those times. They foresaw that this era was going to be a potential tipping point. It was going to be, a time when the planet was in danger of, humanity was in danger. With the planet in a fragile state, it was and is possible for all to be lost, for the humanity to be lost, to be wiped out by a climate change catastrophe combined with political and social and cultural unrest and warfare. And so we are among the people who are meant to prevent that from happening. And our weapon, if you will, which is not a weapon, our weapon is love. And Jean, again in her video, says something about she even saw like a vision of like these souls coming from other distant galaxies to Earth and arriving like they were like streaks of light in the sky, like literally into the wombs of the mothers of the current generations who are here on Earth. Like we came with this mission, and it does speak to me, and it does resonate with me, and so I would like to read more of Jean's predictions, but she's got a lot of stuff on her website too that is very profound and speaks to climate change and what is likely to happen. And she predicts that we're going to lose a lot of coastal areas of the United States and elsewhere around the world in the next 10, 20, 30 years, such that she even predicts that eventually Washington, D.C. will be underwater. It will no longer probably be the capital of the United States in maybe 10, 20, or 30 years. And those are kind of wild images to hear. They're a little disturbing to hear and read those things, but that doesn't mean the government won't exist. It just means that there will be so much change that we will have to rethink kind of our entire way of living, but for the better, because we build a better world on top of the one that is no longer working. And it's not working. We all know it. It's just not working. It's not sustainable. People don't want to live this way. And so it has to change. And we can help that change with our loving intent and the light that we bring to the world. So it actually is a mission. And if you're watching this, then you're a part of it, most likely. And I am coming around to accepting that all of these things are real. And I want to be part of that positive change. So I'm trying to think of any of the other things that she said in the video that were really interesting. Well, all of it, some of her sort of more, troubling predictions. Yes, she says some areas of the world are going to become uninhabitable. They'll be underwater. And, there could be areas that are uninhabitable for the exact opposite reason. There's not enough water. And I had a dream about a week and a half ago that I really debated whether I was going to share it online because it was troubling to me and I didn't know what to make of it. And now I'm ready to share it because it ties in with all of this. So, I dreamt, I didn't know when the time period was, and I didn't even know if I was on planet Earth, but I was on a planet like Earth, and it seemed like it was Earth. And I was standing in the middle of a what really looked like a desert plain, or just like, or really more like a rocky plain. And as I looked out, I saw like a mountainside, a cliff face that was probably a good several hundred yards high, and the rocks were like a sort of a tannish, like a bright tannish color, like desert sand, and so was the ground, and there was no water anywhere, and there were no trees anywhere, and I was standing probably also like a few hundred yards from this cliff face, and I could see that built into the cliffside were rows of apartments, like basically the mountain had been carved out for people to live in, and all of the windows were sealed, and they were all like in rows, like in a building, but just in the rock face, and the reason they were sealed, I discovered, was because the air outside was toxic. As I stood in the middle of the plain, I looked up at the sun, which was very bright, and the sky was blue, and it was a beautiful day. But I realized that no one could be outside because the air was no longer breathable. So they had to live inside in the mountains. Like they literally built, built into the mountainside in order to survive. And I know that Sterling, the psychic medium, has referenced that in the future there will be pockets of humanity that will live underground or under the ocean, or he may have said in mountainsides, but it reminded me of that concept that he mentioned, that there would be parts of the earth that could be uninhabitable. And I was very startled by the dream because I've never had a dream quite like that, where, oh, that's Gabe in the background, where things were so stark. And I also I wrote to Kim Carey about it because I so value Kim's opinion. And I like what she had to say about it. Her feeling was that it may have been a vision of a potential future on Earth, but not necessarily the definite future of Earth. And I think I agree with that. I think the dream was a kind of a warning that truly, if we as a species are not able to get the planet back on course, we could lose everything. And I don't mean to sound melodramatic when I say that, because I don't like to alarm people. And this is all said with love and is not meant to frighten you. And I hope that I haven't. But I think it is to point out that we are in a perilous period, and we have to do what we can to get Earth over the hump so that mankind can survive. And I am restating my belief that all of these prophecies that have been made, I believe that they're all, like, even in the Bible, like, the return of Christ and a kind of end of times, the book of Revelations. There are things in the book of Revelations that are kind of like paralleling what's happening now, like where things are breaking down, and we are having these global catastrophes between COVID and natural disasters that are shaking the planet. And they've been prophesized in different belief systems, and now they're coming to pass. And we have to be part of the change. So even though I'm referring to some things that are going to be difficult to go through probably for the next couple of years, Jean Mail was very enthusiastic in the video that I watched that by 2028, we will be like, that things are already on the upswing because of the light workers, that we're already over the hardest part, that 2020 was the beginning of the rebuilding process. And you could say that because of the election. Absolutely. Without the result of the election, we would be in far worse shape. We might actually be doomed, but we're not, because the election went the way it was supposed to. It went in favor of goodness and not darkness. And we have a chance to correct course, and we will. If we are strong in our beliefs, we are strong in our love, we are strong in our intentions, and doing all we can individually to make the world better. In every way that we can make the world better, whether that's literally by being charitable, whether that's being more responsible with our food and clothing purchases, or the vehicle we drive, trying to, if you haven't done recycling, embracing recycling, and when you have the opportunity to help someone who needs help, to lend that hand in whatever way you can. And I know, just based on knowing who some of my viewers are, I know that that many of you are like this already, whether that's in your personal time or in your job. You are caretakers, you are caregivers, and that is a beautiful and such a valuable thing. It's exactly what the world needs right now, and so we are all needed for this mission that we agreed to take on here on planet Earth. And so watching this video and the reading that I've done on Gene's site, and then thinking about my own dreams, and then thinking about what all the other psychics have said, it's all starting to make sense to me now. Why I'm having the dreams I'm having and how it's all tied together. So remember, if you remember, even in another video where I told you about a dream that I had where I was levitating, and then I was sitting cross-legged and I started to turn, and then that dream led to another dream, a week later or whatever, where then all these people in a room were turning as they levitated, and then all of the people became Quetzalcoatl, the serpent, turning. And so, like, basically those people in the air turning in the ceiling of the room together in my dream, that was all of us. That was the light workers fulfilling their role in a prophecy, which is really quite profound. If you think about it, it's an opportunity. As hard as it is right now, it's also an opportunity to be part of literally saving the world. And I don't say that casually or lightly, because I don't say things like that in general. So, I hope you sense how much I mean it and how important it really is. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna get over this hump, and if we believe that, and we believe it together as a collective, we will be that much stronger. Because, as I've already extensively written, and other psychics have certainly said, our thoughts are very powerful. Our thoughts help to create reality. Their energy and the things that we believe and the things that we want to have happen, we can help them to manifest. That is part of God's gift to the creatures God has created, including us. We can be like God in that we can turn our beautiful thoughts for a better world. We can imagine and help that better world to come into reality. It's dreaming it, and it's taking it from the dream realm and making it manifest in the physical world. And that's what we're going to do. So I hope that this is in some ways helpful and motivating for you to feel like I do at this moment, that we have a challenge that we can rise to, and we can achieve the goals that we seek, which is a better, more humane, kinder world for people, for animals, for the planet itself, which is alive, for nature itself, which is alive. We can help to transform the world into something that more closely resembles heaven. That's how I really feel. So I'd love to know your thoughts on all of this. I didn't expect to be back so soon, but it just all kind of struck me like a lightning bolt. And here I am. So again, I'll link the Jean Mail video that I just watched below. And again, mention that most of her content is on her website. She's not really on YouTube regularly. I may reach out to her and email her and see if I can encourage her to maybe start making some videos, because I think people would really love her. I found her entire way of presenting information very interesting and very thoughtful and empathetic, and it spoke to me, and so I wanted to share that too with you. Okay, so Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I hope you have a beautiful holiday weekend, and talk to you again very soon. Good night.